welcome back to Tammy Talks About. This is about the third time I've recorded this video, and yes, I look horrible. I started this with the intention of getting this to you as quickly as possible, but this is hard. This is a hard topic. It's a hard video to do, and I'm having some issues with it. It's really affecting me, and I don't know. We're just going to do it this time. I'm just going to record it and get it out to you. Most of you that follow my channel have Twitter. A lot of you don't, though. And today, I'm sorry, folks, I'm extremely uncomfortable. Pop topic used to be sausage roll. Australian News Magazine dropped a article, and today's recording is June the 7th, 2021. The article is Bombshell Insider Exposes Plot to Ruin Johnny Depp. And this is written by Diane Anders, and let me just say, Diane Anders has followed this case very closely. She's hit and miss like everybody is when it comes to all of this stuff. I mean, you know, sometimes you get good information, sometimes you don't. And that's the issue with this article. It's an email from an unnamed source who they say is a former production executive at New Line Cinema. So, you know, we've got to take this as rumor until it's proven, until we see the emails, and until we see the truth. And I mean, if it is true, it really puts it all together, and it's really disgusting in my book if it is true. So I'll leave a link to this article, and you can read the entire article for yourself, but I'm going to just hit some of the highlights of this article, and we're going to talk about it. And let's just get into it. A former production executive at New Line Cinema believes that Amber Heard may have been contacted by an influential and well-connected member of an activist group and the author of the infamous Emily Doe letter to get her organization worldwide recognition by smearing one of Hollywood's most beloved actors. This bombshell email exposes the motives of a corrupt political activist group. Amber Heard was one in a line of ambassadors that had been recruited by nonprofits closely associated with the Violence Against Women Act in the Obama-Biden Office of Civil Rights. The same group who wanted to engage young women voters and thought that the sexual assault and domestic violence conversation would engage them, which it did. The insider explains that the Office of Civil Rights was run by activists who have been vehemently against due process in campus sexual assault cases, resulting in approximately 700 federal lawsuits, of which 300 or so have been ruled in favor of an accused student whose due process rights were denied. And then they go into describing who the some of the cases are, and who it says they talk about the New Hampshire versus Owen Labrie in 2015, the People versus Brock Turner in 2016. There's also the infamous Rolling Stone A Rape on Campus story, which turned out to be a fake too. Yet these trials, the Rolling Stone magazine article, and now the Amber Heard ACLU piece all tie back to the same operatives. Professor Michelle Dauber, Catherine Lamont, Laura Dunn. The creation of Dear Colleague, a federal directive that was unregulated but introduced in 2011 by Joe Biden and which foreshadowed the Me Too movement, the bombshell email reads. And then they talk about these cases and how Chessie Prout, who was in the New Hampshire versus Owen Labrie, she was recruited by Laura Dunn in spring of 2015 before the trial in August of 2015. And Chanel Miller in People versus Brock Turner appears to have been completely taken over by Michelle Dauber, who was colluding with the DA for a Me Too political coup, the insider adds. And Chessie Prout's family, or Chessie Prout is an ambassador for PAVE, which is a fraudulent organization. In TV interviews and in Chessie's book, they use the exact same talking points that Amber Heard was given by the ACLU. It's very, very political. Amber Heard joined the Brett Kavanaugh U.S. Supreme Court confirmation protest in front of the Supreme Court on October 4th, 2018 in Washington, D.C. The ACLU has strongly referenced Kavanaugh in their talking points, as pointed out in the Bombshell letter. The insider adds, the original reports of this noted letter came from a Stanford law professor, which would be Michelle Dauber too. But isn't it interesting how closely associated Amber Heard is to Michelle Dauber, and how her talking points from the ACLU also include Donald Trump and Brett Kavanaugh and Title IX campus sexual assault. ACLU joined the Know Your Nine, one of the nonprofits to challenge due process. God, this is so disgusting. In a Glamour article published the following month, Amber Heard says her career is most inspired by Palestinian-American activist Yasmin Majili and Stanford University law professor Michelle Dauber, who supported and allegedly wrote the Emily Doe letter in the Stanford rape case. It's those women who deserve the spotlight, she said. I'm humbled just to amplify their voices. This is so disgusting. Well, this is interesting regarding Michelle Dauber and Amber Heard, who had Roberta Kaplan represent her. Kaplan co-founded Time's Up with Tina Shin, who from the start was involved with Dear Colleague. Kaplan defended Columbia University against Paul Nunsinger when the Title IX sued them over mattress girl Emily Sulkowicz. Kaplan even famously said that she didn't think that his education had been significantly impacted, and I remember that statement. I know that's true. Mattress Girl was featured heavily in the Hunting Ground documentary, propaganda that was debunked, and also in, and also in Carry That Way protests that Michelle Dauber led. Florida State University's president denounced the Hunting Ground documentary. A group of 19 Harvard law professors wrote that it provides a seriously false picture both of the general sexual assault phenomenon at universities and of our students accused in a case depicted in the film. May 2016, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp divorce. The box to tick for domestic violence is the only box left blank. The former production assistant executive claims. Now this article tells you more about Michelle Dauber and the Emily Doe letter. And shortly after Amber Heard's divorce, but before she accused Depp of domestic violence, she met Michelle Dauber at an awards show. In 2018, Amber Heard honored Dauber in her Washington Post ACLU op-ed about Me Too. The Virginia judge overseeing the defamation suit regarding that article ordered Heard to supply all correspondence with the ACLU and anyone related by May 28th. Johnny Depp has petitioned SCNY, the Supreme Court of New York, as ACLU did not cooperate and have been slammed for not being transparent with their motives. This is so very, very disgusting. I don't even know. Wow. I'm just stunned by this, but let's just keep reading. The answer to our question concerning the ACLU would have been most useful to an issue raised by Ms. Heard concerning the title of her op-ed. It is disappointing that the VPA chose not to be transparent in that regard, Mr. Chu wrote in response to an amicus brief request to have the trial thrown out. Documents released so far reveal that the ACLU was working deliberately to smear Johnny with the op-ed, but working with Ms. Heard to use a legal freedom of speech loophole to avoid being sued for defamation. This is just... I'm sorry. Who does Amber Heard say she is inspired by? Michelle Dauber, who, per a Freedom of Information email dump in 2019, appears to have written the Emily Doe letter that was read to Congress that she held as the Me Too manifesto and which caused Joe Biden to say, I see you, to Chanel Miller, The insider concludes in their Bombshell email, was Amber Heard recruited by Michelle Dauber in May of 2016, and that's why People got on board and published an article about how the divorce quickly spiraled into accusations of domestic violence by Johnny. Is Johnny Depp a scapegoat in a political plot to give the Me Too movement power to circumvent legislative law? I am beyond angry. This is disgusting. It's utterly and amazingly disgusting. And I mean, some of this we've heard. We've heard that the ACLU wanted to make Johnny the face of domestic violence. And if all of this is true, and guys, you've got to remember, this is an anonymous source giving an email. And so, we can't prove it. But the points that they make sense. It answers a lot of questions. See, the ACLU thing has bothered me, especially since all this has come out about them. But I know for a fact, because I remember reading those emails, Title IX was mentioned. Donald Trump was mentioned. Now, I don't remember Brett Kavanaugh being mentioned, but Title IX and President Trump were both mentioned in those emails. There was a remind Congress of what their duty is. Me Too movement. She's trying to connect herself to that from the beginning. In fact, she was connected with it for a long time. Didn't this Michelle Dauber person that she looks up to? She seems like a real piece of work. Here's the thing. I'm all for justice. That's why I do these. I want to see Johnny Depp get the justice he deserves. I don't want to see an entire gender, the male population, be treated as if they don't have the same rights as me just because I'm female. I don't expect that for my daughter. I don't expect that for my granddaughter. I expect for them both to be in a world where they have the same rights as any man. And I have a real problem with this stuff. If this is true, and it's looking like it. And for those of you not in the United States, the political climate in this country is just, it's to the point of ridiculous. But, I'm old, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But needless to say, if all of this is true, it makes absolute sense. See, that Title IX, it's like what they said, it's about taking the due process rights away on campus assaults. No. And here's the big thing that everyone needs to understand. Even the people the people in these organizations, they understand it very well. It's not about taking care of those who have been violated. It's not about taking care of those who've been assaulted. It is about the funding. At the end of the day, all of these acts that get taken care of in Congress and all that, they have millions and millions and millions of dollars in funding. Whose pockets do you think that funding goes into? Doesn't go into the pockets of the victims. It goes into the pockets of those who run the organizations. So at the end of this, it's about money. See, people like Michelle Dauber have made a lot of money. ACLU's made a lot of money. And they don't care who they take down. They'll take down young college students who have their whole life ahead of them. They'll take down one of the most respected, kind, caring people in the world in Johnny Depp. They don't care that he's innocent. They care about getting their funding in their pockets. They'll holler and tell you, oh, I'm all about victims' rights. Take the funding away and see how much they're for victims' rights. Well, I know this video has went on way too long. I will look into this and see what I can verify of it, and I'll leave the entire article in the description, and we'll talk about this some more. But until next time, be blessed.